What's up, guys? How's it going? Know it's been a while. My apologies. Due to YouTube, I've had to back off from producing videos and stuff for a while because of the strikes they brought against my channel for egregious and unjust reasons. I think that's the best way I can put it. Eventually, I'll do something filling you guys in on exactly what that was, but for the time being, we're not going to worry about it. So, what have I been doing in my time off? Well, a little bit of everything. First off, I started refocusing on my diet and training again. Hopefully you guys can see that I have been managing to lose some more weight, which is good, because I want to be a good example for people, especially those in the prepper community and stuff that watch, and lead by example rather than just sitting here running my mouth all the time. Now, having said that, you guys know that I generally, for the most part, don't like to be the bearer of bad news, you know? I know most of my videos kind of say the opposite, but to be honest, I get tired of being the guy that's always delivering bad news. Alright, I want people to be ready, to be prepared, to understand what's on the horizon, and have a realistic outlook on it. That way they can do what's necessary to get their household ready and make sure they're right with Jesus. That's the reason why in all my videos I tell you guys, look, don't take my word for anything, seek out the Lord in prayer, and find out if what I'm telling you is in line with what He is saying. Because I don't report on things unless I have His go-ahead anyways. So I have no qualms about this, alright? Now, having said that, there are a lot of things going on right now, a lot of things that are lining up, so let's jump into this video. Here we go. Now, the reason why I'm focusing on some of these topics right now is because of an interaction I had with the Lord last week, which I will get to here in a minute. But I wanted to show you guys what's going on. Most of you guys already know about the food processing plants and the warehouses and the massive fires we've had all throughout the past year. I mean, I've lost count of how many times this has happened so far, so this couldn't come as much of a shock or a surprise to anybody. You know, just the other day, here we go. Massive fire destroys commercial egg farm belonging to top U.S. supplier. You know, this is just another chink in the armor of America. You know, eggs are a substantial amount of protein and stuff that people buy on a regular basis. And it is a staple of the American food diet, you know, what people eat and everything else. You know, this is not good. This is not good at all. We've all seen the hike in egg prices and stuff just in the last few weeks. I mean, at this point, I think it would be safe to say if they remade Scarface, instead of cocaine, the drugs he'd be peddling would be eggs. You know, kind of is what it is, right? Okay. Now then, we have a few more things to go over, so let's hop over to this perfect storm, right? More Americans can't afford their car payments, you know, than they could during the peak of financial crisis. This is bad, and it's all culminating together. This is carefully planned. It's strategic. All right. If you can't afford your car, you don't have a way to go to work, especially if they come and take your car from you. Right? How do you get from point A to point B? How can you afford your bills that you have? You can't. Therefore, your options are to find some miracle or means to work from home, since you can't drive anywhere, or rely on services like Uber and whatnot, and you're going to spend over half your paycheck just trying to get around. Believe me, I know. I've got a buddy in the security contracting game that is doing this right now because he's saving up money to buy a new car. And what he spends on Uber a week is almost half of his paycheck as it is. You know, so this is one of those things that, you know, people think it's not a big deal, but it really is. And it's going to get much, much worse. I hate to say it to you, but especially after what the Saudis have pulled and what's going on with the death of the American petrodollar, prices are going to increase, and it's going to become much, much harder for people to make ends meet and do what they need to do. Now, to add to this, over here, millions to see food stamp payments decrease after February, federal agency says. Now, most of you guys already know about the rioting and stuff over the last, what's his name, tier something. I should know because it happened in Memphis, but you know what? I generally don't pay attention to that stuff. You know, for me, it's people killing people, and it happens every day. I know it sounds wrong, but you get kind of desensitized to it when you're in the career field that I am. I mean, there's loads of bad people. Some wear uniforms, others don't, and they kill each other all the time. Our job is to protect the innocent people, and that's what we try our best to do. So you kind of get desensitized to a lot of the stuff that goes on, especially when you live in a large city like Memphis, a Democrat stronghold. Especially when you have a DA that was personally funded by George Soros and his people, so it's kind of to be expected. So if you couple all the riots and stuff, they're trying to get kickstarted again, right? Then you couple people not being able to buy food, assuming they can even find it. Then you couple the food restrictions that are appearing in supermarkets and stuff all across the globe, especially here in America. Then you add on water supply issues, right? It paints a very bad picture. We are spiraling out of control. We are destabilizing, at a frequent and freight train type speed. Actually, it's not even freight train, it's a bullet train at this point. And this is very, very bad. Not to mention what we have going on in Russia, Ukraine, and everything else. They are pushing this final world war. And, this is something that we should be aware of. All right. So give me a second. Let me find one more thing. I just want you guys to have a look at it real quick. I know there's all types of people trying to debunk it, but I want to pull it up for you real quick. So give me just 1 second. Digging, I managed to come across this, which is not what I wanted because I used to have the original on my computer, but, we'll deal with it. It is what it is. Okay, this is an outline of Albert Pike's letter to Mazzini, and, First World War, Second World War, those are done in the past, so let's focus on this one right here, the Third World War, okay? The Third World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences caused by the agentur of the Illuminati between the political Zionists and the leaders of the Islamic world. The war must be conducted in such a way that Islam and political Zionism, State of Israel, mutually destroy each other. Meanwhile, the other nations, once more divided on the issue, will be constrained to fight to the point of complete physical, moral, spiritual, and economical exhaustion. We shall unleash the nihilists and the atheists, and we shall provoke a formidable social cataclysm which, in all its horror, will show clearly to the nations the effect of absolute atheism, origin of savagery, and the most bloody turmoil. Then everywhere the citizens obliged to defend themselves against the world minority of revolutionaries will exterminate those destroyers of civilization and the multitude delusioned with Christianity whose deistic spirits will from that moment be without compass or direction, anxious for an ideal, but without knowing where to render its adoration, will receive the true light through the universal manifestation of the pure doctrine of Lucifer, brought finally out in public view. This manifestation will result from the general reactionary movement, which will follow the destruction of Christianity and atheism, both conquered and exterminated at the same time. Now, why did I bring this up? Because you are seeing their plans take place right now. You're seeing this all be pushed and fomented together. We are sitting in a time span where the world is at war, whether we want to face it or not. We see economic destruction. We see the moral decay of groups around the world. You see atheists like, what's his name? Yuval Harari? Probably pronouncing that wrong, but what's his name? The guy from the World Economic Forum, his little right-hand man, the super AI who thinks he's God. That little douchebag. So we see all these things fomenting, brewing, bubbling beneath the surface, almost to the point now that it's starting to boil over. This is the reason why you see everything coming together now. Okay? You see the intentional push of protests and rioting based on supposed racist cops and everything else around the world, they are destabilizing the groundwork and the framework that has held this world together. It's very thin. It's a very thin veneer, all right? Our world is so complex, and we have built a system of arrival on time and, last minute deliveries and stuff that is so complicated that all it takes is for one straw or one card in the stack to be moved and it all comes tumbling to the ground. So it's like I told you in one of my previous videos, Dark Winter. This is deliberate. When they ran those war games that Operation Dark Winter was based on, do you honestly think that they were content with seeing how it would happen? You think they didn't learn how to control the downfall rather than it all collapsing at the same time? They want controlled chaos. Ordo ad chaos. Order out of chaos. That is what they want. Okay? So let's move on, and I will show you exactly what I'm talking about here. All right? Recent news. Okay? Events goes, why I believe this is very important. So I'm going to lay the groundwork for you and try to explain this. There have been all sorts of videos popping up from the pro-gun people all over YouTube dealing with this specific issue. Now, some of them see part of the picture, but they don't understand it in full. Let me be the first to tell you that if you're a firearms owner, especially if you're a Christian or a constitutionalist, conservative, gun owner, what have you, the Satanists know who you are. They know where you're at. The range and capabilities of the NSA and DARPA and the CIA and DHS, DOD, DOJ far surpass what anyone is actually aware of. If you don't believe me, go and look up Edward Snowden and check out what he has to say about it. Now, the reason why this is so important is because this is a trap, okay? Give me a minute, and I'll explain it, all right? The ATF's final rule has dropped in the Federal Archive as of, I want to say yesterday, maybe. Might have happened earlier in the week. I'm not 100% sure. I really don't keep up to date on when they drop stuff, especially when I'm just don't care what they have to say to begin with. However, basically it's so vague, and it's intentionally vague because they want to be able to do what they want to do and make examples out of whoever they choose to make examples out of, all right? They are openly violating your God-given rights, and they don't care. They don't give a damn if there's 100 mini Wacos or Ruby Ridges that are spread across the U.S. They don't care. You mean nothing to them. Let me reiterate that point. In the eyes of the elite and those that want to destroy our nation, you mean nothing. You are a zombie. You are cannon fodder. You are nothing but cattle for them to wet the ground with your blood with, okay? Let me just reiterate that, all right? You have some of these FUDs out there saying that, oh, you have 100 and something days or to register your gun as a SBR and avoid the $200 tax stamp. Let me explain to you the issue with this, all right? Standard procedure for building a short-barreled rifle is such that you go ahead and you fill out your form with the ATF, right? When it is approved, after you've paid your tax stamp, then you can build your weapon. So if you already have a weapon that they deem illegal in existence, and then file your form, you are inadvertently admitting to a felony crime. All right? Which gives them the excuse to simply deny your application and then send their jackbooted thugs to your doorstep. All right? They are using this as a way to foment war and authoritative control. All right? This is a gun registry, the largest this nation has ever seen. All right? I want you to understand that. It's a trap. Jared from Guns and Gadgets and one of the attorneys at the GOA, the attorney at the GOA realized this loophole there that the ATF is sure to exploit and asked the people at SHOT Show about this, and they couldn't answer him. He asked them, if you're not approved within 88 days of your application, and that automatically means your application is denied, then what is the next step? And they say implementation of disarmament, which means their thugs show up on your doorstep. All right? And it's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be peaceful. They're going to break down your front door, and they're going to shoot your dogs. And if you stand to defend yourself, they're going to try and shoot you. Okay? This is part of their plan to further cause destabilization in the U.S. Okay? I'm not going to do too much longer in this video about this, but you need to be aware of this. All right? This is a trap. All right? That's what it is. They want civil unrest. They want an excuse to call in martial law here in America. And the first couple of gun owners they have that tried to do this process, that tried to register rifles they already had in existence as SBRs, they're going to send their jackbooted thugs out and they're going to pick a fight. That's exactly what they're going to do. And then when ATF bodies start turning up from people doing what is right in God's eyes by defending themselves and their families, they're going to use this to say, oh, this nation is unstable and we have to do full gun confiscation, and they're going to try to invoke some sort of military nonsense, martial law stuff, in order to further push their implementation. And the reason being for this is because when Russia and China invade, they don't want us to be able to defend ourselves. They want us to be cannon fodder. And China has already shown that they have no interest in saving any American lives, whether it be for work camps or anything else. They want to wipe us off the map. They want to destroy everyone of Anglo descent. All right? That means if you're white, you dead, homie. I hate to burst your bubble, but that's exactly what they're looking at. So, having said that, let's move on to the next modern events. That way you guys can get a feel really for what it is that I'm trying to tell you here, okay? Get that out of the way. Boom. U.S. joins Germany in sending battle tanks to Ukraine. And the response from Russia has not been good. I'll go ahead and tell you that right now. It has not been good at all. And I don't care who says what. I don't care if they're current military, whatnot for the U.S. Simple fact of the matter is they are technologically advanced over us and have weapon systems that we cannot take down. I hate to say it, but it's the truth. All right? And I'm seeing these things play out just as God revealed them to me back in 2010. So that's the reason why I'm even putting this stuff out there, because I want you guys to seek the Lord in prayer over this and find out what you should be doing to keep you and your family safeguarded and protected. I'm praying for God to raise up more men like myself that are meant to fight the enemy and protect his people, and that they're ready to do it, okay? God is with us. He's not just going to up and abandon us. Yes, some of us it'll be our time, but there's going to be a lot of us that he will use to establish his remnant, okay? And this is not a light task. I want you guys to seek the Lord in prayer over this stuff, all right? Now, getting into what's going on in the world, most people don't know that Israel's already thrown their hat in the ring on this. Israel's been chomping at the bit to get at Iran simply because of their nuclear weapons program, and they have done it in this past week. Bam. I hate Wall Street Journal, but at least they're willing to cover this. Israeli drone strike hit Iranian weapons facility. The Sunday morning operation by the Mossad intelligence agency is said to have achieved its goals. They struck Iran first. All right? Do you think Iran's just going to fall down and lay over and take this? No. I'm sorry. It's not going to happen. Okay? It's not. And Iran is in the BRICS nations. So If there's an entanglement between Iran and Israel, then you can expect China to jump in, as well as Russia. And Iranians' attacks on Israel are going to be backed by them. This very well could be one of the wars that are spoken about as far as end time prophecy goes in the scripture. I'm waiting to see how this plays out, because what the Lord has shown me has to do with America. He hasn't shown me world events yet. He might. If he does, I'll let you know. But I just wanted you guys to have a taste of that. Now then, for those of you who don't know, a Russian spy ship was lurking off the coast of Hawaii, conducting quote-unquote unsafe operations. But what they don't go on to say in this, which I am thankful for Hal Turner actually turning up this stuff, that ship used some sort of EMP device or something to target America's main missile defense system, which is based and housed in Hawaii, and shut it down for over half a minute. It was a test run, and they were successful at it. If you guys will remember, one of the visions God showed me, he showed me our East Coast being attacked and bombarded by Russia. 3 nukes. DC, New York, Florida, as well as many other rocket attacks all up and down the East Coast, including fuel incendiary bombs, which those things are no joke. Trust me when I tell you this. All right, I believe this is the preparation for that stage. I don't know when it's coming, but I do believe that it is. All right, so since we have covered that, let's get back to the main purpose of this video and what I was telling you I was going to enlighten you on that the Lord spoke to me about earlier. Okay, so the reason why I'm even doing this video, all right, the only reason why I even put this stuff together is because, how do I explain this? Last week, for 4 or 5 days straight, I had this feeling something was off. I had a feeling of loss, remorse, like something had been taken from me, and I couldn't put it together. At first I thought maybe it stemmed from an alternate personality, one that was still coven loyal and wanted to go back to doing what I used to do, but the more I thought about it, I'm like, no, that doesn't fit. It doesn't fit the mold. I wouldn't go back to the covens even if I could. It would never happen. I want to bring them to justice, to face real justice for the crimes they've committed against the innocent. I have no desire to ever return to those people. So I knew that wasn't it, so I'm like, well, nobody's really stolen anything from me. I mean, my family is as good as they can be considering the circumstances. They haven't been taken from me. None of my friends have been murdered or taken out. My dogs are all fine. My wife's good. So it's one of those things. I mean, apart from the financial stuff, the economic ramifications, nothing's really been taken. And I couldn't figure out what it was. So I want to say it was maybe Wednesday, possibly Wednesday night, somewhere around there. Actually, no, I take that back. It was Sunday night, because I was seeking, no, Monday. It was Monday night. It was before I returned to work last week. But I was lying in bed, just going over everything in my mind, right? And I was talking to the Lord about it. I was like, God, what is this? What's going on here? What am I sensing? Something's not right, but I can't put my finger on it, right? And the Lord told me, he said, Jason, your home has been stolen from you. I'm like, my home? No one's tried to boot us out of our house. What are you talking about? And he said, Jason, where do you live? And I said, I live in Memphis, Tennessee. And he said, yeah, and where's Memphis? I said, Memphis is in the state of Tennessee, right? Duh. Follow the rabbit trail, right? And he said, yes, Jason, but where is Tennessee? I said, it's in the United States of America. And the Lord told me, he said, your nation has been stolen from you. And I thought about it. And I remembered the dreams and visions he gave me many, many years ago. And I remember that the Lord had told me that America had been stolen back then, but I didn't really feel that sense of urgency, that sense of loss, and the rage behind it until recently, you know? So it's something I've really been grasping, trying to grapple with, and figure out, okay, what is going on here? And, the Lord showed me, he said, Jason, signs are completely around you. Food, economy, who do you think's paying for all those tanks and the F-16s that are being sent over to Ukraine? And we are. The taxpayer is, you know? And they don't care about the detriment that it brings to us. They don't care. They have a plan, and they're going to push it through regardless of who suffers for their actions. They don't care. I'm not even going to get into what I would do if I had it my way. All right? I'll be booted off YouTube permanently for that one. But to say the least, it was an epiphany. Because I report on this stuff and I follow current events, and I try to keep my eyes focused to look at these things from God's perspective in the realm of the spirit rather than just the physical. But this was the first time that it really was just brought to my attention in the way that he did, And that's the reason why I wanted to bring this to you guys, because I want you guys to seek the Lord in prayer and fasting and whatever else he leads you to do. And I want you to find out from him if you receive confirmation on this or not. All right, so that's kind of what I'm getting at here. Just so you guys know, since we are at the end of this video, while I'm thinking about it, Tom Dunn and the guys through the Black are doing another International Spiritual Warfare Conference in Ohio. I think the dates for it are March 30th through April the 2nd, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I believe that's right. I want to say it's in like Brooksville, Ohio, or something like that. Anyways, you can go to, throughtheblack.com and, get all the dates and everything from there, or, take a look at the Facebook page and whatnot. Everything's listed. I will be there. A couple of my buddies will be there. Chris Price from Camp Herman podcast, he's going to be there. And keep your eye on the lookout in the next few weeks. I popped in and did kind of a impromptu conversation with him and Dr. Judd Burton going into vampirism and, some things of that nature, which will be coming out, which it was actually really fun. I always enjoy getting to hang out with him and Dr. Judd. Dr. Judd's a great guy. But Chris is going to be there. Kenny Say is going to be there. He'll actually be doing a presentation, which is going to be fun. I promise it'll be worth it. Trust me on this. I will be there. My wife will be there. We'll be running the security team and helping out with counseling and stuff we can. Oh, before I forget, Chris is helping me build my website right now. So here pretty soon, if we can get everything in order, my website will be set up and operational. Once it is, I'll let you guys know. And all the stuff for the book, both books that I've been working on actually will be over there. And that way I can remove everything from Patreon and whatnot, and you can just go directly to the website. And I will be trying to get everything linked as far as like subscriptions and stuff, which the main website's going to be free. There'll only be certain parts that you'll have to subscribe to get access to, like the book itself and the videos that go along with it, that kind of thing. But everything will be there, articles, videos, book access, all that stuff, and I'm trying to get it set up to where we can operate under I believe it's Dan Bongino's parallel economy, because I'd much rather do that. That way I know I'm not going to run into restrictions and have my site taken down or anything else, because Patreon and the woke lords that be don't like my content. So that is the main reason why we're moving over there, and eventually I will stop doing videos on YouTube and they will be exclusively released on Rumble and the actual website. That might cut my numbers down a little bit, but YouTube's become too much of a hassle. I'm sorry for all my followers on YouTube, but move over to Rumble. My time on YouTube is short, and YouTube has done everything they can to make that abundantly clear to me. So this is the way it's going to have to go. So, sorry guys, but it is what it is. All right. Having said that, I think that's all the updates that I have for you guys. Seek the Lord in prayer over this information and do what you need to as far as what He's concerned with. And I will see you guys on the next one. Later.